Welcome back to RXMuscle's Supplement and Science. Today we're going to be here with two special guests, my good friends John and Sharisse Tsikouris from TitanMedicalCenter.com, and we're going to be talking about immune system. And this is a very important subject, obviously, given the fact that we are in these COVID times and people are getting sick. And you know what? I thought who better to bring in here than someone who's had personal experience, unfortunately, with this COVID virus. Sharisse, you have gone through a hell of the last couple of months. You want to, first of all, welcome guys to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. We love to be part of the show.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about what you went through is that, you know, I always believe in my life, I always say, why did I have to go through this? Or why did this weird thing happen to me? And you know what? I believe things happen for a reason. I believe a lot of things happen in my life because I am been put here to help educate other people on how to navigate their way through some of the things that I have gone through. You guys obviously are in the business of health and wellness and, you know, hormone replacement and immune system fortification. And, you know, who better to be able to advise people on that than someone who's actually gone through this whole COVID trauma. You had a horrible experience, but, you know, you've come through it, and a lot of it had to do with some of these supplements that you were taking to help you bolster your immune system and get you through this. So I think it's
Thank goodness.
Give us the whole, how'd you first find out you had COVID?
Well, I'll sum it up for you. So, you know, obviously, you know that I work, you know, like 24 hours a day. So rain or shine.
She works a half hour more than I do every day, which is 23 and a half hours. She works 24.
23 and a half, you know, so it doesn't matter. I've always pushed through everything. So I started getting sick one day, you know, it was back in June, and I started getting little sniffles, cough, you know, maybe a little sore throat, whatever. Long story short, I'm like, hey, John, I'm not feeling too good. So day by day went by. I want to say about a week went by. And we did have a couple positive COVID cases come into our clinic when they wanted to get tested.
What month was this again?
June.
Okay.
Yep, this was in June. So, you know, they came in and they got tested. They were positive, and, you know, they wanted to get IV treatment that had glutathione, vitamin C, and zinc in it. That was like the thing to do to try to boost the immune system. Right. So anyways, I wasn't feeling good, and I'm like, hey, listen, you know, maybe I should swab and see what's going on.
Right.
So I did. I swabbed.
Because you guys actually test. You can test in your clinic, right?
Yes. Yep. I did the nasal swab. Okay. So, you know, I did the nasal swab, sent it out, you know, and obviously now this was an absolute nightmare, Dave. Okay. And I'll tell you why it was a nightmare. So I send it out, and obviously I have all my staff here, and they're all waiting for this result too, because now I got, you know, all these other people in the office with the sniffles and a runny nose and this, and now everybody with allergies has COVID. So, you know, it's like, oh, what's going on? So I get the result back, and I get the result, and it's negative. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, this is fine. I'm just sick, right?
Right.
That's when I started feeling, this is where I started feeling kind of weird. So about a few days after that, and it progressed pretty quick. We have a 2-story house. So I'm going up and down the stairs to just grab things, whatever, normal things.
Right.
And I can't breathe. And I told John, I'm like, I can't breathe when I'm walking up and down the stairs. Like I literally can't breathe. And, you know, it was a day I was just standing there, and I felt like I was going to pass out. It wasn't good. Like, it was really scary.
Like, you couldn't get enough oxygen into your lungs, almost.
No. Honestly, it stayed that way for probably a solid, 40 days. Oof. 40 days where I had to, wake up, and, you know, I don't cry because I'm a baby. But, you know, it made me cry because I didn't know. It got to a point where I didn't know what was going to happen. So, moving on, you know, I get this negative COVID test, and I'm like, I feel weird. Something's wrong. You know your body, so you know something is wrong. So I get a chest X-ray. Chest X-ray comes back. I have pneumonia. All right, cool. So I got pneumonia. That's cool. I could ride this out.
Right. You can take antibiotics and whatever. Yeah.
Take some antibiotics. I'm good. Right. I got a little inhaler. I mean, thank goodness we have access to everything. A pharmacy, doctor, IV. You know, I went through the whole ringer,
X-ray.
right? X-ray. I had an X-ray machine here. So it was like boom, boom, bam. Right. Okay. So a couple of days later, I'm like, John, I can't even drive. Like I literally can't drive.
So you're
and
on all the
like
treatments
to
and you're
drive.
not getting better is essentially what's happening.
I was on, so at this point, we went ahead of the game and the doctor's like, listen, if you can't breathe, you can't see this and that, this is what happened. I started gabapentin because I started getting pain. And I couldn't see, I was dizzy. And so gabapentin was helping with the nervous system. I also started dexamethasone, and that was helping with the inflammation, obviously, because I couldn't breathe. It was a steroid. I also did an inhaler, and I was on antibiotics. I was on Augmentin. I'm like, John, I'm swabbing again, and I'm swabbing you while we're at it, right? So swab, boom. 3 days later, positive. I'm like, great.
Both of you?
So
both of you?
Yep, both of us.
Wow.
Both.
Yep.
And you had no symptoms, Sean?
I was totally asymptomatic.
Wow. Crazy.
You know, it was like, what's
now,
going
was
on?
it
And our kid was positive
because
too.
you had pneumonia, you think that you got it worse?
No, I think that the COVID caused the pneumonia. I think the pneumonia and COVID go together.
Gotcha.
100%. Because I mean, I've had pneumonia before and I never felt like that where I couldn't breathe and I couldn't see. I mean, even looking at the clock, it was like double digits.
Right.
And that's scary because I can't fix it. So I'm like, you know, this is not good. Let me sit down. I need to work, you know, and it's just getting to a point where you can't work. So obviously everybody in the office freaks out. You know, we had to test everybody for COVID. Thank goodness. I would say we have 12 employees, 2 came back positive. We had to sterilize the whole office. Everybody's working remotely. People are in hotels. Me and John are in a hotel. Our kid's positive. We're in a hotel with him, living around a hotel. I'm like dying on my deathbed.
How was the children don't seem to have any symptoms for this, right?
He was fine.
Yeah, Peter was fine.
Thank
Our
God.
son was fine. And the crazy thing about it, Dave, is that my dad, we've retired my dad for years, so he lives in my house.
Yeah.
Right? He does nothing but stays in the house. He's high risk, kidney disease, heart disease. So at that point, like, we were scared he was going to catch it because we had it. My son had it.
Yeah, it was
so
a death sentence for him. Yeah, you can't get him.
But he didn't.
Right.
We swabbed him twice, totally negative on both, no symptoms. So we're like, thank God.
Wow.
Yeah. So, this is where it took a little deep turn. So I told John every day that went by, and I'm on this nebulizer holding it up to my mouth, you know, trying to breathe. Right. Because it literally felt like I was trying to breathe through a straw. That's the best way I can explain it.
That's horrendous.
Just a straw here and try your best to breathe. That's when I started getting leg swelling. And listen, I'm on dexamethasone. I'm on everything. So it's like, what else am I going to take to get better? Started swelling up. You know, my stomach started swelling up. I looked like I was pregnant. I told John, I'm like, you know, I don't want to go to the hospital. I'm not going. Because I know
a lot of people don't leave. Yeah, they don't leave. That's
not only that, I'm like, they're going to kill me there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They don't leave. You know? They leave in the body there.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. They're going to kill me. I don't want to go there, you know? So, and not only that, but in the hospital, when you're over 18, they make you stay by yourself. So you don't have anybody there to support you. You're by yourself.
Right.
So anyways, we go to the Don Cesar, favorite place to hang out, by the pool. You know, John's like, get some sun. I'm like literally dying. So I'm like, whatever, just I'll take sun, whatever. Vitamin D is going to help.
Yeah.
So next morning I wake up and literally crying to the point, like just, I couldn't walk. So my knees, for whatever reason, it was a sepsis, but the knees locked up. And I couldn't walk. So at that point, what else are you going to do? You got to go to the hospital, right?
Right.
So John's carrying me out of this hotel and takes me to the ER. Well, first I'm not going to lie. First we came to this office. We ran stat labs here because I didn't want to go. Dave, I wasn't going.
You could run actually labs in your office. I didn't realize that. Wow. Cool.
Yep. Yeah. Right here. We drew the blood. I called one of my nurse practitioners. I'm like, hey, I need you. And Dave, this is 4th of July.
Oh my God.
On 4th of July. On 4th of July. You know, I'm like, I'm lucky to have the staff. So anyways, I'm like, come in. I need you to draw my blood. Hurry up. So we run the stat labs. I get the results back in 2 hours. And my white blood cell count is at like an 18, which it shouldn't be over like a 10.
Yeah, that's high.
So at that point, this is not good. Went to the ER. They ran all the labs. You're not leaving. You're staying because you have sepsis.
Right.
They also diagnosed me with ileus, I think that's what it's called, where your gastro tract stops moving. So that's why my stomach blew up like that.
Bloated, yeah.
Yep, that's why I blew up like that.
So what did they do for
I'm
you?
in the hospital. Nothing.
Yeah.
The only thing they gave me was, you know, obviously they had to start up like 3 IVs on me and gave me all these different antibiotics, a push of antibiotics. My, lactic acid was super, super, super high.
She had lactic acid.
Acidosis.
Lactic acidosis.
Acidosis.
Yeah. So basically, like, the best way to make you guys understand, because a lot of you guys out there work out, right? So if you got the best personal trainer on the planet and they worked you to death, every single portion of your body, that's what it felt like 2 days later. Like, I couldn't even lift my arm because it hurt that bad.
Is that why you couldn't walk? Because you're so much lactic acid.
I couldn't walk because my legs were swollen. And it's just literally I couldn't do anything.
How long were you there for before you started feeling better?
Well, so here's what happened. Obviously, I've been in nursing for a while, so I'm very familiar with what will and will not kill me. Yeah. So I'm in the room with the special air and everything, and they don't have any more COVID rooms, right? So I'm there for 2 days, and there's patients that are older patients that need that room. And I just told him, I'm like, listen, I'll be fine. I own, medical clinic. I'm good. Just discharge me because I don't want to be here anyway. I mean, think about being on 4th of July. I'm in the, this ICU room by myself, being treated like an alien because, everybody's coming in a bubble suit. Nobody wants to be near you because they're scared of you.
Yeah, John couldn't be there either? Or did you get in there?
No. I was by myself. And I'm hearing the fireworks go on outside, and I'm like, have John on FaceTime, and I'm crying. I'm like, this is so bad. I'm like, so finally after I hung up the phone, I was like, hey, I hit the nurse button. I'm like, hey, I don't know what you have back there, but whatever you got, put it in my IV. I'm going to sleep. I just want this night to be over. Right. I'm done. So, I want to say this breathing issue / stomach issue / pain that I couldn't stand up straight probably lasted a solid 2 or 3 weeks.
So you were in the hospital for 3 weeks?
No. So I was out of there. I'm like, I'm out of here. Give the room to someone else, and I just was basically bedridden for. Well,
because you figure, you might as well be at home. At least you could have John there for you. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I have access to everything, so I'll just keep a close eye on it. But I mean, even when I left the hospital, I ended up going back to the hospital again, what was it, a week later? Mm-hmm. Because with COVID, there's blood clots. I want to say 50 or 60% of patients get blood clots. So they have me taking a baby aspirin to make sure I don't get a blood clot. And then, it's frustrating, Dave, because every doctor that came in that room, because they gave me a pulmonologist, they gave me a cardiologist, an internal medicine doctor, they're all coming in there and saying the same exact thing. Okay, so let me sit down and let me discuss this with you.
This is the most common answer.
And unfortunately, we just don't know. We don't know what's going to happen to you.
We're all in this together. I've heard that from every doctor.
That's what you want to hear, right? Yeah. You might die, we're not sure.
It's just crazy.
So you decided to take things into your own hands, and luckily for you have a lot of alternative therapies at Titan Medical.
Right.
And
I did.
And this is what I really wanted to really get out there to people, that sometimes, because they don't know, these doctors don't know what to do. There are things out there that you can do, and I guess they would be considered, alternative or off-label type stuff. And so these doctors won't prescribe in the hospital, but you can take matters into your own hands, and I'm always a big believer in finding solutions, that you need to the problems that you have. Tell us some of the modalities that you guys used to help you get over this and recover from this illness.
So the biggest thing that all the doctors and before I left the hospital, the biggest thing was super high doses of vitamin C, glutathione, because they do give glutathione in the hospital, if you can believe that or not.
Oh wow.
And zinc. So, instead of taking it obviously over the counter in a pill format, where if you get something over the counter, you don't even know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And then if you digest it, you're only getting 10% of what you still don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
But I obviously took the injectable. So we have an injectable, it has glutathione, it has vitamin C, and it has zinc in it, all in the same exact shot. Mm-hmm. And I just took that shot. I took that along with the thymosin alpha-1. Yep. I'm a huge believer in the thymosin alpha-1 now.
I want to slow down. So the 3-in-1 is the trifecta shot you have. Now that's the zinc.
It's our Triimmune.
Right? That's the zinc, the glutathione, and the injectable vitamin C, which I've used vitamin C in the past. It can be a little painful, right, in an injectable form?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But, right. Yeah. You just dilute it down with like a vitamin B12.
Right.
You can just dilute it half and half.
And vitamin B12 is
super highly concentrated.
Yeah, is really, well, I think it's just, it's C is ascorbic acid, so it's the acidity of it probably is what also irritates some of the tissues. Interestingly, obviously, if you put zinc right into your bloodstream, obviously, you know you're absorbing it, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Which is helpful.
You know you're getting what you need.
And glutathione, I've been saying, banging people in the head with that. I mean, that's the most important thing for immune system, liver health. I mean, antioxidant, I mean, everything that goes wrong during COVID can be counteracted with glutathione, it seems, And our 100%. Bodies just don't make enough of it. And that's really, especially as we get older, I think that's why older people are hit harder with this problem.
Well, a lot of these doctors out there, especially the old school ones, they don't even, if you believe it, they don't even know about glutathione.
I'm sure
they have no idea.
They don't even know what it is.
Right. How much?
It's naturally produced in our body. I mean, we can even blood test for it here. Right. So we can tell you what our glutathione levels are and be like, hey, listen, this is going to help,
But we know more is better. That's the thing. I mean, if you're going into like a war zone, okay, and you have more tanks and more missiles and more soldiers, you're going to win the battle. It's pretty obvious. Right, I mean, it's pretty logical, right? If you go in underarmed, you're going to get overwhelmed by the enemy and they're going to beat you. So we know glutathione is a weapon of mass destruction we can use, but if you don't have enough of it in your body because you're older maybe and you're not producing as much, obviously fortifying with it is logical. I mean, if you're going to go try to combat, COVID. So what's the dosage of all these ingredients in that trifecta formula?
Sure. So for the Tri-Immune Booster, it's got the vitamin C, which is 200 milligrams per ml. It's also got glutathione, which is 200 milligrams per ml. And it's got zinc chloride, which is 5 milligrams per ml. So you're getting all those in 1 ml per shot. So if you're going to do it half, you get half that dosage. If you were going to cut it, or 70% or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're sick and you want to feel better, you don't care. You'll do whatever. And if you're not sick and you don't want to get sick, then you'll do whatever.
So we had a lot of healthcare workers because we're nationwide. So we service nationwide. So whatever state people are in, we service them. Right. And a lot of people, especially with the breakout, we had a lot of healthcare workers that were in these different states, like Washington State, Seattle, and all these big places that got hit first, even New York. And these people were taking it. They were going and getting the patients, and they didn't become COVID positive. They also wrote us a review about it, which is really cool. So, it was used as a preventative. And obviously right now, people are just thinking about COVID-19, but there's other bacterial infections, other viruses out there that can still get you sick. So you want to make sure your immune system is built up.
I've been taking glutathione, for a couple of years now from you guys, and I feel great. I never get sick. And if anyone gets sick in my house, I get it lasts like a quarter of the time of everyone else. And so now I'm going to add in these. I'm going to try the new one, the Tri-Immune Booster. I want to see how I feel on that one with the vitamin C as well. Now, another thing you used, which we've talked about before, but I didn't know it would be so relevant to COVID, was the thymosin alpha-1, which is, we know, an immune system modulator, which helps enhance the immune system if it needs to be. And you talk to us about that and how that helped and what your dosage was you were taking.
So I was actually taking a higher dosage, obviously, because I was wanting to do whatever it took to feel better and get back to normal. So, I mean, I was taking the 40 units, right, per day.
Yeah, I don't 40 to 50 units. So it was 1,500 micrograms per day.
And you know what I didn't know, but John, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what I didn't know, you told me before the show, was that Zydaxin is there's actually a brand name of thymosin alpha-1 now. It's not just a peptide the bodybuilders use. It's actually it's like a drug that they're giving now for immune system.
That's correct.
So, and this is something that people
with
can
the
get
research,
from you.
Yeah, I mean, with the research coming out right now, they're talking about T cells and how important T cells are as far as your immune system, especially with COVID-19.
Yeah.
Well, the big thing about thymosin alpha-1 is it augments T cells, which have killer cells and helper cells. So basically, they track down, they get the memory of these cells, and they go after it again. T cells after antibodies, they don't know how long antibodies are going to last in the bloodstream or the system. So at that point, after that, that's where T cells come into, and really, I mean, that's really what it is. They use it as far as like chemo patients. As far as I was going to say,
would this be good for cancer patients too? It sounds like it would.
Yes.
Yes.
So it slows cancer growth. So when you look up Zydaxin, which is the pharmaceutical name for the commercial product, they'll tell you on the website, obviously what it was FDA approved for. So this is one of the FDA approvals for it. So at that point, you can look it up, check it out. It's really, really cool. It's really important.
Are there
It's
any
natural
side
occurrence.
effects of it? Like, is there anything like flu-like symptoms or anything like that?
I listen, before I even started taking it, because I didn't want to take a turn for the worse.
Yeah.
I made sure to do all my research because I was like, I don't want any more side effects because I can't handle any more drugs.
Sure.
But yeah, I've been taking it now. I want to say it's been the full 90 days, and I don't have to take the 40 units anymore. But I mean, the regular dose is 10 units every day before I go to bed
per day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it comes in a 15 milligram bottle, which is 15,000 micrograms. So that's a pretty sizable, nice bottle. And if you're only taking 500 units a day, as like kind of a prophylactic, that'll last you a long time, that bottle,
Right.
Absolutely.
So look, it's a great product. I haven't even tried it yet, but luckily I haven't needed it yet. But I do,
Let's hope you don't.
I know people who have, cancer and stuff like that, and they're always asking me what they could take for it. And, I always tell them the usual litany of vitamins and fortification type stuff like glutathione. But I didn't know this is an option, and this is something that people should probably look into as because not even if
you're sick. I mean, we have a lot of people that have been taking it just as a preventative.
Gotcha.
Me personally, when we went to Orlando for a bodybuilding show, not just recently. We were there for a couple days. I decided not to take it with me, obviously, because it's reconstituted and it's cold, and I'm like, I just don't feel like it. So I'm being honest. But I didn't take it for about 6 days, and on that 6th day, I actually started feeling sick again, and I'm like, okay.
Right.
I'll take it.
I better double the dose when I get home. It's important, I think, in these times that people know that there is options, and once again, I'm a preventative type of guy. So I like to prevent myself from even getting anything. But if you do get it, okay, here's an option you have that you can increase the dosage, and people can contact you at TitanMedicalCenter.com and talk to you about these formulas that you have. And I know you obviously give discounts for people mention Dave Palumbo and RXMuscle. So you always take care of all the people I send over there really well. Customer service is great. You know what? And I got to also commend you. Your doctors are great over there because, telemedicine has gotten like a bad rap. Like, it's like, oh, they get the crappy doctors, that do that's not true. You guys actually have doctors that kind of care, because I've sent people there and their blood work was off, and they called me up complaining like, oh, this doctor wants me to do this and this and that. I'm like, he's right. I look at their blood work. I'm like, he's actually right. He caught something that probably your normal doctor wouldn't even catch, and he's just wanting you to address it, and that's what a doctor's supposed to do,
Yep. Go do your donation. Hurry, run.
So it's big for us. So, patients are obviously number one priority. The results come afterwards, because without their health, they're not doing anything. They're not getting them for a show. They're not going on, lives. They're not, doing daily quality of life things.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing with us. And the way telemedicine is now, so because of COVID-19, obviously logistic-wise, we were already set up for telemedicine all around the United States, where a lot of these doctors, primary cares, and we started doing primary care services too for patients that are out of state too as well. So if you need primary care, we can help there too. But, they weren't set up for this. So primary care, people are calling us and they're like, I can't get in with my doctor, even for COVID. Like, I don't know if I have COVID or not, so we were able to do this right away for patients and do the telemedicine.
It is ironic that you guys, it is ironic that a lot of the hormone clinics, specifically you guys, were completely set up for this. It was almost like you guys were waiting for this to happen,
Yes.
And it happened, really, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was really, you only did it because, you did it because it was a convenience, because a lot of people out of state couldn't travel, but it really worked to the benefit of even the people in the state, so. Because now no one.
And now all of a sudden, everybody, all these doctors that didn't, said telemedicine, no. Now everybody's doing telemedicine.
They're all doing it.
And now all of a sudden, it's perfectly fine. It's like,
even like the doctors now, you can even email them now. Like there's like when I sign into the my chart portal, you could actually say, hey doc, and talk to them, and they'll actually email you back and say, all right, I'll send you for this test or something like that. It's amazing.
It's a little different.
It is different. It's cool.
I actually like it even now, because I don't want to wait in the doctor's office.
I do too. It's more convenient for me.
Absolutely.
I don't have to go there. Went with the rheumatologist after I got the blood work done, because he did a full workup on me for like lupus and all these other things. He did it on telemedicine.
I wish they could do my colonoscopy through the telemedicine, but unfortunately,
hey, soon enough, Dave. Soon enough,
you'll stick.
You're just gonna take a pill, and it's gonna do all of it for you.
There'll be a camera.
I'm telling you, it's coming.
Yeah.
Mark my words.
I believe you.
Mark my words.
You're right. I want to talk about something else because I sent a lot of people to you guys for the pregnancy protocol I developed years ago, and that was to help people get more fertile, men get more fertile, so they can get their wives pregnant. And it's worked very successfully in the past. Some of the ingredients on the list weren't really readily available. Coming soon now, finally, they're making synthetic FSH, which is also known as HMG or Pergonol. If any of you guys been looking for those things, this was something you couldn't get. Now all of a sudden it's going to become available, and that's usually the key ingredient in raising a man's sperm count. Talk to us about that, John.
So FSH, the manufactured product is available now, so we'll be helping patients out with that. As far as that goes, that along with HCG, Clomid and glutathione, those are the great protocols. I know you're behind that protocol 100%. So we'll be able to offer that to patients, by themselves or all together to really make that boom. I mean, we've helped a number of patients get pregnant, not knowing if they could get pregnant, what they could do. We could also send them in for sperm analysis. So if they need to make sure that it's them, because some people don't know. They think it's automatically them, and it could be the wife, or it could be them. Who knows? So until you really run those tests and really do know, or if you just want to take a shot in the dark and say, hey, listen, I'm just going to pump up my body and be ready to go.
Well, usually for guys that are for guys that are bodybuilders, usually it's the guy's fault. So 99% of the time. So, but it's great. It's great that you guys can do this and provide this service. And it's funny. You can use as little or as many as you want. I always say, look, if you went to a fertility doctor, they're going to charge you $35,000 to do IVF.
Oh my God!
It was crazy to see that.
Pergonol alone is $1,500. And that's for like a week or two. Of it. So. This is a much better way to go, and I'm glad that you guys are.
So we'll be able to give a substantial discount on that medication too, as well. I'm just throwing it out there right now. I'm getting the prices on and everything like that, but it'll probably be around $500. Yeah. So it's a third of the cost of what you would get from a fertility clinic, cheaper. HCG. Yeah. Way cheaper, for the patient, stuff like that.
Even what they were charging for HCG at some of these, it was like $2,000 for an 11,000 IU. I'm like,
ridiculous.
What do you do? What?
Let me bring that up, because a lot of people are very concerned because they heard that HCG will no longer be made, and that's not true. What's happening is it can't be compounded anymore in a generic
after
sense.
March.
So you have to sell the brand name Pergonol. Is that correct? Not Pergonol, I mean Pregnol, excuse me.
Yeah, Pregnol. So it's got to be manufactured. There are a couple compounding pharmacies, 503Bs out there, which are FDA outsourcing facilities that are going after the biological license that Big Pharma has right now.
Oh, okay.
And it's a couple $1 million to do, and they haven't secured those licenses yet. But hopefully they'll be able to do it, and compounded HCG will be out there, because it will be a lot more inexpensive for patients. Yeah. The only bad thing with manufactured products like that is Big Pharma. They are a little bit more expensive as far as that goes.
Right.
But even for us, if they had to go for manufacturer prices, we're going to give our patients a super discount on it, like $150 probably still, or maybe $200, maybe up it up $50 more than what we already charge, and still give them to it, because we want to try to pass on the savings to the patients.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's great that you guys are offering that, because people were worried about that, because that's a typical. When bodybuilders, are stopping a cycle, or they're going off, hormone replacement, they like to do HCG. And I know as part of your hormone replacement protocol, you prescribe HCG to make sure that the testicles keep working. So that kind of threw a little monkey wrench into what you guys were doing too.
Yeah. No, 100%. And at the end of the day, I know some of these clinics out there, and I've heard this because obviously I can see all the text messages coming in from all of these awesome patients. Right. But you have to come up with a solution. A lot of these doctors just took people off HCG. Like, oh, sorry, can't get it. I don't know what to tell you. Just, here's some, here's the rest of your stuff. I'm like, what are you doing?
And then they're trying to substitute. So obviously the compound pharmacies lost a lot of money in this, right? A lot of revenue, because HCG is huge, weight loss for HRT and stuff like that. Yeah. So what they decided was, all right, we're going to try to look for a substitute. So when you start looking at these different substitutes, now the DEA is starting to look at peptides. Over 15 chain amino acid based peptides, they're really starting to look at. Like, hey, listen, these shouldn't probably be on the market. Yeah. So at that point, they're looking at, they replaced it now with Kispeptin. That was supposed to be another one that's supposed to help regulate LH and stuff like that. Right. And a lot of clinics have been pushing that. And clomiphene, not Clomid, but there's another one that they're using as far as that goes. They're trying to
like
substitute out for,
Raloxifene or
they're
something like that.
Clomid.
Well, I told John when all this happened, I'm like, listen, before we make any decisions here with our medical staff and everything, because obviously we're going to go over it, but I'm not re-educating all these patients.
Yeah. That's what you got
some
me
of these
for.
people have been with us for like 6 years, you know.
That's what you got me
I'm
for.
like, oh, no.
I'm the one who's got to re-educate them, not you.
Right. Well, you know, it's not even that.
Right.
Let's say you do re-educate your patients, right? And then you put them on this peptide. Now the DEA says to the compounding pharmacies, you guys can't make this either.
Right.
So then you're back at square one already. And you're like, oh, what do I do? And now the patient's like, well, you put me on this, you put me on this, you told me this.
I think people will pay a little bit more for the brand name HCG if they have
absolutely.
to. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. And you know, they're gonna get the best. They're gonna get the best results like that too, instead of just trying to scrimp together and put together whatever you know you can to give a patient. So we want to make sure that our patients are getting the very best, whether it's therapies or patient service, you know, whatever it is.
Right.
You know.
Well, I appreciate not only the services you guys offer, but also the customer service that you give all the people that we send over to you, and that's why people go back. Important. And you know, look, you're not Walmart, okay, over there. And people have to understand that you're not giving this stuff away for free. You know, you're not going to lose money over there. So they have to understand there is a business component of the business, but you're there to get the people to take the right things that they need that are going to help, you know, treat whatever issues they have going on, and that you're first of all looking at their health first. You're not going to just prescribe things if their health is not in perfect order, and that's another thing people get frustrated about. Like that, but, you know?
Yeah. Some of them don't like that, but at the end of the day, we'll tell them, hey, listen, your health comes number one. Let's just fix this. Let's fix this. And then I promise you, it'll be easy sailing after that.
Plus, you know, patients, they obviously get the service, right? So they're paying for the service too as well. So they can call, text, email all times of day and night, because me and Sharisse have the phone at nighttime too.
No,
so
you guys
is this really Sharisse?
8 years later, 8 years later, I'm still on the text message.
Coming up 9.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's like people always say to me,
instead of Walmart, Dave, it's Target.
Yeah,
it's a Target.
People always say to me, I'm afraid I didn't want to text you too late. I said, you can't text me too late. It's impossible. I said, because I go to bed after everyone. You know?
No, your days just roll, right? They just roll into the next.
They're continuous. Yeah, they're pretty much continuous. But anyway, that's how it goes. I'm so happy to hear that you are doing better. You sound great. You look good. And, you know, it's just a testament to the fact that, you know, you guys are doing the right stuff over there. And you know what? Now you have personal experience. If anyone calls the clinic, wants to talk to you, or wants to, you know, maybe they have a COVID situation they're going through, and you can maybe give them personal advice, because
happy to help.
You've experienced it all, you know?
Yeah, I can't say I'm happy I had to go through that. And I did ask John, why me? I'm like, I haven't done anything wrong to anyone, so I don't know why I'm suffering like this. You're the face of the company there. You got to be able to answer the questions. You know, but it's like, hey, we're gonna do this to this girl, and we're gonna make her go through this whole thing so that she can let everyone know that COVID's real.
I'll tell you. Look, you want to know the truth why you got it and why John didn't get it? The reason is that.
Well, I got sick and he didn't.
No, I'm saying you want to know the reason.
More stuff.
I'm telling you the reason.
He takes more stuff.
No, it has nothing to do with that. The reason is that us men, and I could speak for him and I, we're weak. We couldn't handle it. What you went through, him and I would have been basket cases. We probably would have died. And you
Amanda, I'm going to record this and send it to you.
Look, I completely admit that she's way stronger than I am in that sense. Men are weak. We can't handle that stuff. You could still run a family and a business and also be sick. We couldn't handle it, so that's why you got the COVID and he didn't. That's the reason.
That's
fine.
Right.
Guys, if you want to check out
TitanMedicalCenter.com,
make sure you mention RXMuscle, Dave Palumbo. They'll give you a great discount. The customer service is great there, and they will take care of you. I promise that. Thank you guys for coming on and filling us in on what's going on.
Thank you for having us.
How to combat COVID.
Next time, we got to see you here in our multi-million-dollar state-of-the-art facility.
I'm afraid. I don't want to catch it. I can't. I'm not allowed out. I'm still in quarantine.
I got a mask for you. You're good.
We got a Titan Strong mask we're going to send you, Dave.
I have one of those like bandito masks. I look like I'm going to rob a bank when I go to the supermarket, you know. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. Thanks once again for supporting the site and then for doing all that great stuff you're doing.
Thank you, Dave. We appreciate it. Thank you for everybody that's out there. We appreciate it,
All right, guys. And that's going to take us to the end of another RXMuscle Supplement and Science review. We'll see you next time.